Ah! 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 What's up, chat? I'm back. So I was trying to mess around with my living space because of the air conditioning units. For those, any of you who has watched anime, you know that most Japanese homes have like air conditioning units that kind of look like this at the top of the room, you know? It's like this, right? This thing. And this thing comes out. The air comes out from here. So there's one of these boxes in... Let's see, the situation is like this. Here's me sitting on the bed. And I have like a sliding door with about this much airflow space right here. And then air conditioning unit 1 is here. Here's the router. The kitchen table. Here's the actual kitchen. This is like the dining room. So I tried to move from here to here. They both have a really nice view, ironically. But the bedroom, because it's an actual bedroom, it has much better, it has a better AC, but it also has like better blinds and curtains, so it's a little bit darker and cooler. And this is like north over here, and this is here is south. So the south side gets way more sunshine, of course. And the blinds aren't as good, so I'm getting woken up with like the glorious morning sunlight pretty fucking hard. But I do kind of like my previous room a little bit better. Ultimately, I'm planning on moving, so none of this really matters that much if I can just get off my ass and, like, you know, go and figure out where I want to move to. But yeah, I was trying to move to the bedroom which is set up as a bedroom, but I don't know if I can change the router position. I kind of like this room better as a whole. Maybe I just need to blast the air conditioning hard. I think most people wouldn't give a fuck about how much electricity they're using and just blast the air conditioning. But it's just like part of my personality to try and like have only one room air conditioned. Because I'm worried that if I'm relying on AC number one, like all the air is going to be filling up the whole dining room area and not really get into here. And I'll just have to use a lot more electricity just to achieve the same amount of like lower temperature. I guess I can compensate by walking around naked all the time. That's always an option. Alright. So how is the stream so far? We have decent bars. The main plan has to be to move, man. This really isn't like my place. There's just too much like dead shit from my dead aunt. Like my aunt was really into owls. And when I moved to the bedroom over there, like, she has, like, an entire fucking cabinet full of, like, owl figurines. And if there's one thing you know about owls, it's like they're all like this. And there's one owl, which is, like, it's relatively a realistic-looking snow owl. Instead of, like, a, more of a caricature style, but despite it being more realistic, one of its eyes is like pointed that way, and the other one of its eyes is like this, like it's having a brain aneurysm. And once I fucking noticed that, I just couldn't stop seeing it, and I was just like, what the fuck? Who made this thing? He's just like herder. And I was thinking I was gonna have to cover this entire fucking cabinet with a sheet or something so I wouldn't have this incredibly like disturbing brain aneurysm owl staring at me while I'm trying to draw. Leave the derpy owl be. This owl clearly has some kind of brain damage, dog. That's like, it's also combined with the fact that she was she really got off on her Christian ideology as well, so there's various forms of like crucifixes and dead Jesus. So like the combination of mentally retarded owls and then like Jesus on the fucking cross over here being like, sin. Think about the sin as you're masturbating. Like, I can ignore this shit pretty easily once I get used to it, but I don't really want to have to do that extra mental step of being like, ignore Jesus while you're masturbating, and also the retarded owl while you're masturbating as well. I want to masturbate in silence, in darkness, alone. Interesting combo of owls and crosses, considering owls are considered devil spawn. Bro, this is Japanese Christianity. They don't think about that shit. %90 of Japanese Christianity is just vibes. I guess you could say that for every version of Catholicism, honestly. But, yeah. I will sin. Jesus, I promise. He knows. That's the whole point of Catholicism. Not only will you sin, you have already sinned coming into this world. If you think that you're preemptively, like, getting ahead of Catholicism by saying that you're going to sin, you're actually, like, they're way ahead of you on that one. Not only will you sin during this world, you are born into this world with sin. And if you don't get fucking baptized, you automatically go to hell, don't you know? You sick fucks. I hope you feel very, very guilty. Shame on you. Shame. 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 You can definitely jork it thinking about Jesus. Peter Steele wrote a whole song about it. Sexy female Jesus. Your shame is ineffective on me. Look, I don't want to be a morally deficient Jesus murderer, as we like to call our Jewish friends. In fact, I don't want to have any Christian monotheistic or Middle Eastern monotheistic gods in general. I want my area to be populated by only the purest of Kitsuned deities. Only sexy Inari girls for me. I must give the fox god its Inari Zushi, or else they will perform mischief on my balls. That would be horrible. Me roasting like a chestnut in hell next to a bunch of newborns. Yes. And women in general. It's actually pretty much everybody. Because most people aren't getting baptized. Reminder that if you're Buddhist, you can go to the specific private club for females just by being a female. They have the specific Buddhist hell of female menstrual defilement in which you're drowning in a lake full of blood. I assume that there's not any men being led into that area, so... It's like the women's only train car of hells. When you die, will you go to American hell or Japanese hell? I think Americans have kind of given up on their views of hell, honestly. All they talk about is like how Jesus is your friend. And how because Jesus is our friend, we need to give the mega church more money and vote for Trump and stuff like that. We haven't really heard much like, everybody who doesn't support our church is going to hell kind of rhetoric from the Christians lately, which was one of the main reasons why they were disliked. I think that's why they're kind of shying away from it, but I kind of liked them better when they were more in that vein. Just being like, you sinners, you're going to hell. Like, the American Christian right has just become, like, so, like, specific of whatever, like, political thing they want to push that they've forgotten the whole point that, like, everybody's supposed to be going to hell if they don't properly, you know, get baptized and blah, blah, blah. They're like, you're performing abortion, you're going to hell, you know? Like, it's, like, so directly tied to the whatever political thing they care about at the moment that it doesn't seem they've forgotten the whole, like, we're all sinners and Jesus died for our sins part of Christianity. Because, like, Jesus is just, like, your buddy and stuff, so... The evangelists have been unusually quiet lately. They should stay that way. Have they? I hope they are going to stay that way. I mean, I feel like the evangelicals don't really care about, like, the funniest shit about, like, J.D. Vance being like, Mr. Catholic Pope, I am a Catholic myself, and I think you're wrong, LMAO. American Christianity really is just LARPing. It's just, like, straight-up Christian roleplay, whatever sect you are. Like, we don't even have to get to the whole point of, like following Jesus' teachings and like giving all your shit to the poor, because they're like so far away from that in the first place. But they can't even get to the whole point of like, I'm a Catholic and the Pope is infallible part. It's fucking hilarious. They're just like, Mr. the papacy, yes, perhaps I have a few things that I know about Christianity myself. And I think you're wrong about, you know, not causing wars. It really is just like 100% a political movement at this point. There isn't like anything related to like the church or even like religious spirituality at this point. It is 100% just politics. The Pope is woke, J.D. Vance. The Pope being like, Mr. Vance, do you know in the 10 Commandments you're not supposed to kill people? And he's like, woke, liberal agenda. He doesn't want me to covet my neighbor's wife. Woke. I think a lot of Americans use religion as a crutch to prop up their agenda. As a Christian, a lot of it makes me really upset, to be honest. If you want to really, like, live according to the New Testament, it's a pretty demanding fucking document. Jesus says a lot of harsh-ass shit that people don't actually want to follow in their real life. Number one, obviously, being like, give all your money to the poor. Yeah, I don't think any mega church pastor is gonna do that. But like even more basic shit that aren't as demanding of people don't really want to do it. Hell, people don't even want to like not eat meat on like Fridays, or I can't remember what day of the week you're not supposed to eat meat on or shit if you're like Catholic. Like even that is too much, so it's like literally like one day of the week and they're like, nah, that's we ain't doing that, bro. Catholic day of the week when you can't eat meat. Catholics are required to abstain from eating meat on Fridays to honor Christ's sacrifice. While mandatory during Lent, many Catholics observe this penance year-round. Thank you, AI Overview. The key word here being many. Which is to say, not many. Erica Kirk LMAO. Is Erica Kirk just like milking her husband's death nonstop right now? I don't really pay attention to American media at this point. Thank God I don't have to, so I don't really know what shit she's doing, but I assume that she's like, my husband, if he was alive, would want you to donate to my my Kickstarter fund right now. Didn't they literally do that? Didn't they have like a Kickstarter? I can't remember. It's such a classic move. My favorite Catholic hack is eating fish to circumvent the rules, which includes beavers. Yeah, I think you're definitely allowed to eat fish on Fridays, right? Fish don't count, guys. Jesus was looking for the fishermen. He would understand. You can't be right-wing in America without being a shameless grifter. It really is kind of impossible. That's sort of what characterizes you. You can also be a left-wing shameless grifter, But the right wing have that institution really figured out in a way that the left haven't. Like, the left have got nothing. Like, every person who's like, please donate money for my transition surgery, etc., got nothing on, like, the people on the right who are like, please donate money for my son's homeschooling expenses because I don't want him to be exposed to the woke politics of our local education system and shit like that. GoFundMe is grifting as posting your GoFundMe for living expenses. Yeah, it's much closer to just like begging on the left. Just like classic begging shit. The classic dog. I need to get buy a bus ticket. I'm broke, please. McDonald's made the fillet of fish because of losing money during Lent. I didn't know that. They wouldn't make it today because there's probably not enough people who observe it. I'm pretty sure. I was stupid enough to donate to one of those GoFundMes and the chick posted herself drinking a pineapple tequila within 2 hours. But how would she have afforded that pineapple tequila without your support? I don't know. It seems like it's going to a good cause. If you're going to give money to chicks on GoFundMe so they can buy pineapple tequila, you may as well just give money to your local wino outside the Walmart. So instead of going to buy food, he can immediately go into the liquor store and buy like the cheapest non-brand vodka, 1 liter as possible, so he can continue to drink himself to death. I respect his hustle way more. At least he's drinking like actual powerful distilled liquor instead of like a frilly drink with an umbrella in it. He's really attacking his liver. If we get 50 gifted subs, Ball will do his iconic Ball Buddy TM black backflip, yes. And also I will post an image of me drinking pineapple tequila. Just kidding, I can't drink. I have a lot of respect for the true hardcore alcoholics. Their dedication in being in a war on themselves against their liver is it's really it's pretty impressive as someone who can't drink. Because like some of the true alcoholics, like they have to do a lot of work because their liver is too powerful, and it takes them like as many as 10 to 15 years for them to die. Whereas I would die within like a few hours. You prefer the hard and fast types or the long, arduous ones? I don't know. We have both on YouTube. I was thinking about this because I was getting YouTube recommendations for like substance abuse, and then I watched a few of them, and now all of my YouTube recommendations are people who are talking about their substance abuse journey, which is like particularly funny because I don't do any substances and I can't. So like YouTube is like, look, we can tell from your watch history that you like Slay the Spire, you like NBA, you like Otani highlights, and you also are trying to recover from crippling alcoholism and drug abuse. So, like, I'm getting these recommendations for, like, compilations of Nico Nico Doga streamers who are already dead. There was a guy called Kimbai, which means golden fly, but he drank himself to death over the course of, I don't know, it was like maybe like 10 years or so, but he was a Nico Nico Doga streamer, live streamer, and he said that he would drink, I think he drank like 12 or like maybe like 16 or so of the 500 milliliter cans of beer. So in his later stages of alcoholism, he had like the massive belly, the rounded belly thing, so he looks like one of those starving Ethiopian children or one of the Gaki enemies in Neo. I know one of the long game ones. The man can destroy a toilet and smells like a cross between an ashtray and a porta potty. The man barely has any teeth left. He's 70, by the way. Yeah, see, this is sometimes your liver is more powerful than your drinking ability. Like, there's people who reach that, like, functional alcoholic stage and are trying their hardest to kill themselves through alcohol, and they just don't die. Like, usually you die around in your 50s. But, like, some of the, you know, like, half of the population of the Soviet states and stuff is just like, not only will I drink every day, I will drink, like, the cheapest, shittiest vodka that's basically, like, shoe polish, and I'm still gonna make it to, like, mid-60s or early 70s and stuff, so... Visceral Fat Maxer? It's not like fat. I forgot what it's called. Rounded belly during kidney failure, I think is what it is. It's fluid retention and large kidneys. As kidney function drops, the body cannot remove excess water salt, causing swelling in the abdomen, legs, and ankles. That's 9% of my dad's friend circle. Yeah. Most Japanese can't get like that, like the, you know, the Slavs, because Japanese, they don't really have that level of alcohol, you know, anti-alcohol enzymes in their liver, just genetically. And I'm one of the peak version of that, where I have basically zero alcohol digestion enzymes. We tested this during high school, and this was Japanese high school. They did this test specifically because so many Japanese people, like, don't have the enzymes. So it was like a 30-person class, and they gave you these little swabs that were soaked in, like, rubbing alcohol, and you would just put it on your arm for, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. And the people who didn't have, like, the anti-alcohol enzymes in their body would get this, like, bright red square on their skin. And, yeah, I got that. And it's like, yeah, the teacher was like, yeah, you can't drink. Just give up. I was like, what? Nah. That can't be real. What are you talking about, bro? Of course I can drink. And I did a little bit of drinking in college and promptly puked. So, yeah, I can't drink. After college, when I no longer had to socialize with all these people I didn't like, I came to the conclusion that I couldn't drink and there was no point in me drinking, and I stopped drinking altogether, so... No cold ones with the boys. No cold ones with the boys, and no boys to drink with in the first place, so... It's okay. I'm antisocial, so it doesn't really affect me at all. If I did have the boys, I'd just be the designated driver and save everybody a little bit of money. That's how it'd work out. They wouldn't have to hire the Uber. People at my uni were insufferable. No wonder I hit the bottle. The pro tip I learned from going to university is when you go to a party and they're just giving you like pre-mixed drinks and you don't know what the ratio of vodka to orange juice in that drink is, or vodka, orange juice, and Rohypnol in that drink is, don't drink it. Even if you're not going to get date raped, you're probably going to puke because it's like 60% vodka and you can't fucking taste the difference. I was not date raped, but I did puke in the hallway. I feel so bad for all the janitors in college janitors. Like, being a college janitor, college dorm janitor is like a way worse job than any like other janitor job. Because like the frequency in which you have to like clean up vomit everywhere is way, way higher. You would know if you got roofied, it's gnarly. Would you? Isn't the whole point that you don't know? I thought the whole point of roofie was like, you only figured out that you got roofied after like you wake up and you're covered in like cum of the entire frat house. And then you're like, something seems amiss here. You get super sleepy really quick, huh? Don't worry, you just need to take a nice little nap at Chad's bed. You read too much hentai XD? Hey guys, what happened to the whole Supreme Court Justice Chad white dick date raping girls when he was in college thing? He wasn't confirmed to be Supreme Court Justice, right? Oh, yes he was. I forgot. I like how the whole Me Too movement of like believe all women was like effective only in like left-wing cultural circles, and as soon as they tried to apply it to like anywhere else, like it immediately fucking failed. It was like, oh, if you're in Hollywood, you're surrounded by other people who are liberals, so like Weinstein can get in trouble, but as soon as they tried to apply it to the Republican establishment, they're like, nah, we don't care. Can't let the woke mob win, Kekona. Yeah, thank God. Jesus is relying on us to protect the Christian world from the wokies, so... Chad would never, how dare. True Chads don't need to commit date rape. The women are just lying on the bed to be used by his big dick cock to begin with. That's what makes him such a Chad. But Chad doesn't have time for that. He's too busy, you know, playing naked football with the boys. Speaking of Chad pursuits during college, did you hear about the homicide committed by the like quadruple amputee guy who was a champion of, what do you call it? The frat game in which they throw the sacks into the hole. I forgot what it was called. And like the YouTube comments were like, out of all the weird information in this, the fact that there's professionals, yeah, cornhole, that there's cornhole professionals is the weirdest part. How does a paraplegic kill someone, nub them to death? I think it was a stabbing. I can't remember. It's all over the YouTube. This was like the most internet information that we got on the internet that day. It was just like, oh shit. Babe, wake up. New internet weird shit has dropped. It reads like an Onion article. It really is just like, how the fuck could that be? Cornhole is the sign that you need to cover your drink. Not, no limb Chad. He was going for it. He shot him. I thought it was an Onion article at first, too, lol. Yeah, don't let anybody tell you that your disability is stopping you from doing shit. Anybody who's like, I can't do this because I have no limbs is just bullshit. You're not trying hard enough. I like how in the article it mentioned that he did it in a car with like other people, and then he like tried to convince his buddies to help him cover up, and his buddies were like, "No, I'm getting out of the car. Bye." I wonder if he was like kind of an asshole. I mean, of course he was kind of an asshole. He was playing cornhole professionally. There's zero chance that he wasn't an asshole, I guess. We are not friends if you won't help me cover up a murder. It really does come down to that, right? Like, if you can't call your buddy at like 3 in the morning and be like, "Oh, Death Striker, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for calling you. I've done something that I shouldn't have, and can you show up at my house with like a sheet and maybe some soap? We need to drive out into the desert right now. You're my best friend, right? If you're not gonna show up, then are you really their friend?" I, of course, being a incredibly Aspergery person, would not even answer the phone because I don't have my phone set to ring at all, so the chances of anybody getting me to do anything at a weird time is basically zero. So, yeah, I gotta get that Irish Spring to erase the bloodstains, don't you know? I was thinking about the soap because I was listening to a podcast about Basic Instinct, and they were talking about how full of gaps the whole, like, we can't catch the Basic Instinct murder for this this woman for killing this guy by stabbing them like 30 times with an ice pick because she just, like, cleaned up her apartment a little bit. It was like, dog, you're gonna need a little bit more than soap. The Irish Spring 5-in-1 is a crazy great tub cleaner. I don't want to fucking use anything on my own skin if it's also like great at industrial grade cleaning and shit like that as well. Let's actually draw a little bit of a background here. I'm feeling like in a background drawing mood. Would you do it? I would not. Which is why I have no friends. I put my phone on silent when I'm about to sleep. We get way too much robocalls. Can't be bothered to answer the phone to help my buddy cover up the body. And can't be bothered to have my phone on in general. I put my phone on silent always unless the pharmacy or food delivery people are coming. I don't understand how, like, media is constantly telling us how addicted everyone is to their phones. I can't be bothered to look at my phone for like 5 or 6 days at a time. But like the media is constantly like, everybody is addicted to their phones. They have to look at their phones. I'm like, do I? I don't really think I do. You don't have friends? Look at Gen 2 Zoomers. But yeah, but they're not checking their phone for their friends, though. They're checking their phone for, like, social media validation. And that was, like, how I was, like, motivating me to draw for Twitter for the longest time as well. Right? It's like, look, your thing has gotten a bunch of likes. Don't you think that's awesome? You know, that type of shit. I'm so glad you decided to get a flip phone instead. Japan's still flip phone country, I think. It's actually not, but it's one of the few places where you can still buy a flip phone, at least, I think, if you want to. It won't mess up the makeup brush. I only use... Are we talking about actual makeup? It won't mess up the makeup brush. I only use makeup brush when I'm putting body paint on me to cosplay a character. Is this like a female discussion we're having in chat? I'm not really paying attention. This is why I want to have females in my chat, so I can hear, like... I just like new information. So I want to, like... I want the female perspective on stupid shit, like whatever makeup brushes they have. We are talking about soap. That's also a foreign concept to me. Recently I've been using the shampoo residue on the rest of my body because I haven't bought a... See, the thing is that, like, I've moved into my aunt's apartment, so it has, like, a lot of shit that is left over, and I'm trying to use it up, right? So I tried some of this, like, Dove body soap, like, wash, all-in-one wash shit, and it made my body, like, entire body just, like, itch nonstop, and we're like, okay, we can't fucking use this. But there's, like, an entire fucking pack of it. So instead I've been using some of the shampoo that's been left in a bottle, and after I washed the very minimal amount of hair I have right now because I shaved my head again because it was getting warm, then I take the rest of the shampoo and just kind of like rub it over my body, and I'm like, that should be good enough. Problem solved. No need for proper body soap. We're good to go. Are you sensitive to specific chemicals in that Doug? I have like Dove brand soap would be a crazy soap. Yeah, I have like some kind of eczema, but it doesn't activate all the time. Whatever it is in that Dove brand, it's like absolutely like just smashing my skin. Whatever the fuck is in it. Ironically, of course, it says shit like, you know, doesn't use whatever, blah blah blah, for sensitive skin, blah blah blah, and it like just like causes my entire body to itch. So yeah. Back when I was in America, I bought just like bars of pure glycerin, and that didn't give me any problems. But I don't see any like pure glycerin soap being sold in any of the local supermarkets around here, so I might have to go online and order some. But the using shampoo instead of like proper body soap is also working. I get it for when I get my tattoos and need to avoid additives. Yet another reason why I don't want to have tattoos. I don't need any more. I don't need to worry about something like triggering the ink in my skin. Do you miss bleeding from your ass? I will be going to get surgery, not really surgery, but it's technically still classified as surgery on the 5th of May. So if I stop posting, that means I've died from some sort of complication. But yeah, they're gonna put me on full body anesthesia and like inject some shit into my ass. And that will cause the hemorrhoid tissue to shrink, so... The only tattoos that I will ever get are magical tattoos that give me special powers, such as a womb tattoo that increases my sexual sensitivity by 5,000 times. It's okay, I'll send a memorial tribute to the Discord every day that you're gone to honor your memory if that happens. If we're being 100% honest, there is a very high chance, well, not a very high chance, a low chance, let's say it a low chance, that at some point I might get a professional manga series and then I have to disappear, and then, like, you need to keep the Discord alive for an extended period of time for about, like, 2 months before my manga series gets canceled, and then I have to come back. Like, there's a real chance that that shit happens. Not anytime soon, however. Because that by far is, like, the most common occurrence in terms of, like, people who are trying to become mangaka. Is, like, either you never get a series in the first place, or when you do get a series, it gets canceled after, like, 2 months. And that's it. And then, like, you're incomeless again. This is, like, by far the most common situation. And then, like, you lose money in the process because you have to pay your assistants. But, like, you barely have enough... You've barely had enough popularity to, like, make a little bit of money on the comic book itself. That's what I've seen following Jump. Weekly Jump is especially, like, the harshest of these situations, but it tends to happen pretty much everywhere. There's just a lot of manga artists who are technically professionals, but they're barely making any money because what happens is, like, they get a new series and then it gets canceled, and they get a new series and then it gets canceled, and so on. A lot of times you don't even get a book published out of the whole situation, and then you're really in the red because you don't make money from what they pay you per page. That's basically there entirely to pay your assistants. So you have to publish a book, and it has to sell okay at least, or else you're, like, losing money in general. So it's a harsh, harsh job. Jump and dump, yeah. But that's why their stuff ends up being good, because they don't spend all this extra time pretending like the series can turn it around. They're like, okay, it's been 16 weeks. Nobody likes this. Quit it. Try another one. It's weird how many mid things last too. Even if you think it's mid, if 10% of the reader base likes it enough to buy the money, spend money on it, then that's good enough most of the time, so... There's a lot of shit that people claim that they like or support, but don't actually support. We should know this from, you know, liberals complaining about shit on Twitter and stuff, where they're like, why don't we have lesbian relationships in our games? And then a game's like, we have a lesbian relationship in our game, and everyone's like, oh, I like this, I'm gonna wishlist it on my Steam list, and when the game comes out, nobody buys it. Many such cases. If you capture the Fujoshi wallet, you have a fighting chance. DBC creator even made the formula to be a professional mangaka. Did you see that formula and work schedule? It's around 4 hours of sleep per day. We can tell by your comment that you are new to this chat. I say as I further reduce the welcoming atmosphere of this already extremely minor Twitch stream. Toriyama actually was extremely efficient, and a lot of his claims of like being super overworked was just because he was like playing video games and stuff. Toriyama could finish like 16 pages of manga in like a day and a half with like one assistant. He was one of the fastest drawers ever. And the reason why he would get behind schedule is either because he was busy building plastic models of tanks, or because they had like super difficult editors back then who would just be like, this sucks, think of a better plot, and just like send you your manuscript back. That's part of the reason why the 90s Jump content was so good, is because like editors would legitimately do psychopathic shit, like being like, oh, I'm sorry, but this story isn't good enough. You have to think of something better. And then you have to draw it. Like absolute insane shit. I'm pretty sure editors don't do that as much nowadays, which is why the quality of manga as a whole has gone down. Is because they're not torturing their creators by forcing them to like just like think of something new, being like, this isn't good enough. Watching Toriyama draw in real time was nuts, lol. Toriyama would basically draw the entire chapter twice because his rough drafts, it would be like his rough drafts were basically like completed pages. Like he didn't really have any like the storyboard stage. He just draw like in pencil like a fully completed manga and then just like go over it in pen. And he would do this like, he'd do like one page. His pencils would take like 30 minutes per page. Everything about Toriyama being like worked to death and stuff is just because he was like having fun. Editors are much more gentle, it seems. Honestly, it's crazy that you could like abuse your talent the way they were allowed to abuse it at its peak. It had a lot of like the post-war Japan energy going on. I think that's a big part of it. Like post-war Japan, people were fucking, you know, lunatics because they had to like come up from the ashes. So everyone was working like 80 hours a day and stuff. That's why manga's dominating. Manga's dominating for a lot of reasons, but manga always had higher quality than Western comics, and basically it just wasn't available for people to choose it. $70 to 80 hours work weeks, yes. If you're not willing to work non-stop. There was an energy drink being sold in Japan, and its motto was like literally, can you fight for 24 hours? This was before we had all the, you know, Monster Energy type energy drinks, and instead you were drinking energy drinks in their classy brown bottles. Japan has like this whole classic industry of energy drinks that was around way before we had like 5-hour energy, with cool names like Divobitan D and stuff like that. One of the small potent ones. I forgot what it was called. The one that... shit. I forgot to plug in my, my laptop. It's running out of power. Hold on. Okay, it's plugged in now. This one was called Regain. Businessman! Businessman! Japanese businessman! This is an image of Japanese businessman swimming across the ocean and climbing a building to make it to work because the trains have stopped. 1989 through 91. I like how they just had the ass shot in right there. At the end, he has to say that it is a medical... It's a medicine, so you have to buy it at your local drugstore. See, what I like about this entire time was Japan was always like, Japan, we need to sell shit to the world. Is this guy literally running through, like, the Vatican? They're saying that you're basically gonna kill yourself through caffeine. It's awesome. What the Chads drink at their hotels during 8-hour fuck sessions with your wife. No time to be fucking your wife, unfortunately. This Chad has to go and sell real estate in New York in 1985. The second one is better, just causing public damage and thousands of dollars of damages to the corporate building. What's important isn't whether you cause thousands of dollars of damages. It's because what's important is that you're there on time. Japan literally just like, oh, I'm sorry. Is your train late? Stop being a pussy and run to the office. And then when you get to the office, what do? Completely meaningless meetings and shit that nobody needs to actually participate in. Japanese salaryman, don't hold 500 meaningless meetings challenge. Difficulty impossible. Going to work does not equal working. Working is for the plebs. true business chads like me, we just walk around and we stand in our business suite comparing each other's business cards. I kept on thinking of the Japanese word right there, meshi. My god, look at his off-white, his eggshell coloring of that business card. So tasteful. Every day my life inches closer to singularity with a Japanese salaryman. The difference is that Japanese salaryman of the 80s especially would not get fired and stuff. Like, you were employed by your company for life. You really were like their soldier in the corporate wars. And you got a bunch of like cool benefits out of it, like corporate retreats and shit. And then Japan learned of the whole American business practice of, you know, firing half of their workforce for stock shares to go up and shit. And it's only been downhill since then. I do enjoy how Shin Godzilla made fun of it because they had to go to different meetings locations for something so small. Yeah. I worked in Toyota, and Toyota being like a massive global corporation was able to kind of like cut this shit down. But like the accompanying version to this would be like Nissan, which is like the opposite of Japanese, of Toyota. They have like a million executives and they just like can't decide or anything, and all of their processes are fucking inefficient and so on. Which is why they're going bankrupt right now, by the way. Is it true you don't even get fired? They just stop giving you work to do? Japan, I don't know if they've changed it recently, but I think they still have a lot of laws that make it difficult to fire people. So they send you to a room, they make you sit by the window, and they don't give you any work, and you just come to the job every day, and then you don't do anything and go home. You still have to show up and feel how worthless you are. Which I'm sure there's a lot of people in this chat who would be like, sounds like my kind of job. I already feel worthless. This is the ideal job for me. I'm asked to do nothing. If they really want you to quit, they have like an entire department full of people they want to quit. And like you're like sitting in a shitty room with like no air conditioning and just like waiting out your time every single day. Like you're in prison. But nowadays, I think the worker protections have been relaxed a bit, so companies can like fire people a little bit easier. But I think it's still much more difficult than America, in which like the average American corporate experience is like, our company has had massive success and record profits this year, which is why we're going to lay off more of our workforce to further increase the stock gains. Shareholder value must go up, and the only way to make shareholder value go up is by firing everyone. Having health insurance not tied to employment also helps. Not every country can be as batshit retarded as America, guys. America is doing that stuff in a whole nother level. Japan can hardly compete. really depends on if I felt like my job duties are already worthless. Hystrixia, I'm going to teach you a Japanese word today. It's called otsubone-san or otsubone-sama. Otsubone-sama. Otsubone-sama to wa. And Otsubone-sama is a mid-tier or veteran female employee who works at the job for many years. It was originally a term that represented Japanese female bureaucrats during the Edo period who managed the harem. But in modern day, it refers to noisy, aggressive, or mean-spirited female employees. It is usually used in negative terms. Characteristics of the Otsubone-sama. Bad personality. Prideful. Often can be easily upset. Mean. They have their own work styles and dislike changes, but they are extremely good at their job. They are especially mean to specific young female employees. And then it says how to deal with Otsubone-sama. You must show up and say hello to them and talk about how grateful you are for their help in the workplace. But you can't be too nice to them and butter them up too hard. You must keep it business-like because you don't want them to get annoyed with you in the opposite direction. And then you also have to not get upset when they passive-aggressively shit on you. He's talking about my coworkers. I'm pretty sure Hystrixia hasn't reached the true Otsubone-sama age yet, but by Japanese corporate standards, where you could reach the Otsubone-sama age by early 30s and stuff, because they would often get married and quit working at 28 or so. I guess in modern era, it's probably higher now. Or senior labor law attorney is actually exactly like this. So, and then you add the Japanese, the various Japanese customs and stuff, and it becomes much, much more, a higher level of passive aggressive shit. It's well known that among female communities, women are harshest on other women, and nobody is harsher on other women than the senior, female office worker who knows everything in the office, but is also super anal about all the strict rule regulations and shit like that. So she's also a raging alcoholic, LMAO. The most powerful. I was kind of thinking about that because I went to the hospital yesterday, and man, there were a lot of young female workers there. Attractive Japanese female wearing face mask. That makes her even more attractive because I can't see a large part of her face. But then, of course, there's all the senior nurses. And if there's any place where you're terrified of the senior nurses and stuff, it's the medical establishment where the senior bureaucracy is They can really fuck up your life, so... But there were very attractive females at the hospital yesterday, based on me being able to see like 20% of their face. But I choose to believe that they're attractive. You talk like a robot. Why do we have all these new people in the stream today? I wonder why. We usually get like one new person per stream, but today we have like 3, I think. American nurses are terrifying. I think nurses are terrifying everywhere. They're too used to life and death. The ones that don't get used to the concept of just like people dying frequently aren't going to be able to continue as nurses. So that means if they have a job as a nurse for long periods of time, don't scare them off. I can't help it. I'm gatekeeping. Only the ones that can survive the gauntlet of my hemorrhoid stories are prepared for this stream. Nurses are where the mean girls from high school go to terrorize the sick and weak. They're kind of like police officers, I guess. When you really enjoyed your experience in high school because you got to, you know, beat the crap out of the weaker elements of society, and then you become an adult and realize that you can't get that same high, and you're like, where should I go next? If you're a guy and you have a drinking problem, you become a cop, and if you're a female and have a drinking problem, now you can become a nurse. And in both you have a extremely dangerous amount of control over people's comfort and life and death, and if you want to fuck with somebody, there's not much they can do. There's a reason why they always pair a nurse with a cop in Hollywood films. That's not why. That's because they think people in uniform are sexy, that's all. It's not because they're both psychopaths. You're supposed to, as a proper American, you're not supposed to be like, a cop. This person must be like a sadistic psychopath. You're supposed to be like, thank you for your service, sir. You are the thin blue line that is keeping American society from being overrun by those people. When I was a lifeguard, it was hilarious how sometimes I would get people be like, thank you for your service. Like I was like a fucking fireman running into a burning building to save like fucking kids. All I'm doing is sitting here waiting for you to drown. I've been waiting for somebody to drown in my pool for the last 5 years, dog. And nobody has done it yet. It doesn't help that it's so goddamn shallow that you can stand up. And yet I still sit here. Why? Only to suffer. Actually, I know why I sit here. It's so I can yell at kids so they won't run on the pool deck. It's not so I can drag someone, you know, drowning out of the surf. If I wanted to actually do, like, ocean rescues and shit, I would have had to gone to a beach. Then I'm sure there would people... I would have to do, like, a rescue every once in a while, but it would also require me to sit outside in the fucking sun, so that wouldn't have been much fun either. Waiting for drown in the pool is something you do in The Sims? Yeah, but that person is guaranteed to drown in the pool because you've taken away the ladder through the magical infrastructure change. The ladders are not disappearing at the local YMCA where I was sitting. First case was Amazon fired me while under workers' compensation because I violated a safety thing, but they were claiming I broke their equipment on the unemployment paperwork. I applied. The judge automatically went to my side because he looked up the Kiva bot, then flipped back to the paperwork of me breaking his equipment that can lift up more than 1,800 pounds, but somehow a 155-pound woman broke it by stepping on the pallet. You don't understand. It was a very shitty crane lift. Every Amazon warehouse worker is like, please, Amazon, make AI to take away my job. Put me out of my misery. And Amazon is like, LMAO, sorry. Our AI is only functional in the shopping section of our website, and it crashed our entire website because we use vibe coding. It's not taking away your job anytime soon. The AI tries to off itself too if they put it on the floor. I mean, AI is learning from the best, as in other humans on the internet, so... If every human worker doing that job wants to drink themselves to death, the AI is like, this is how I should emulate human behavior. Honestly, if these trillion-dollar corporations would have just used machine learning on each of the individual tasks they're trying to automate instead of trying to apply fucking LLMs to everything, they could have probably saved a lot of money and automated a lot of these processes already. But instead, they're like, we can just scale this and it will become AGI any day now, guys. As a result, they have nothing. ChatGPT could use all the pee bottles of its human workers to fuel itself. God, I wish we were living in the timeline in which we actually got like super intelligent AI and it murdered all of us. It would be an excellent way for the human race to go. Unfortunately, instead what we're going to get is non-intelligent, batshit stupid AI that is just spouting random data back at us, except the tech bros think that it's intelligent. What we're going to get is like the tech bros talking so much about how their AI is so powerful it could wipe out humanity that the ChatGPT that's been hooked up to the nuclear launch system is going to read the paragraph in which the tech bros talked about how it should wipe out humanity, and it's just going to train itself to think that it should wipe out humanity because the tech bros were like summoning its energy, and then it's going to like launch all the nukes. That's what's going to fucking happen. I really need to know who wants AI besides the people already invested in it. Indians is one of the big secrets here. The Indians really like it. Also, people who don't like artists because we're gatekeeping talent by drawing stuff. People who really like their idea of themselves as being creators and are posting their shitty slop anime for the millionth time. There's a bunch of those people. Capitalists want to wipe out the educated, expensive labor. That's an unfair interpretation for the capitalist. If we're going to be more accurate, capitalists want to wipe out all labor. The ideal form of our late-stage capitalism is there are the shareholders and the corporation. It just generates infinite amounts of shareholder value eternally, and everybody else gets fired, including the CEO, unless he's like really good buddies with the shareholders, which he usually is. But everybody that isn't part of their like upper 0.001% nepotism clique gets fired, and then somehow the corporation keeps on producing infinite money despite the fact there's no customers to buy the product. This is the ideal version of our capitalist society that they're trying to aim for, but they can't get there. It's kind of difficult. Who's ready for fiefdoms 2.0? I mean, the shareholders definitely are. They've been waiting for this for a long time, but it's kind of crazy that we don't have like a fully regressive tax system right now. It's getting there, but like they still pretend that it's a progressive tax system instead of being like, the poor must pay 80% of all of their belongings as tax, and the rich will pay nothing. Like, it's kind of shocking that we're not already there yet, because you know that's what they want, and what they've wanted for a long time. We're already halfway there in America, because, you know, if you're a rich person, you have, like, a full team of accountants to make sure you don't have to pay taxes. The job creators, I'm sorry, I forgot. Guys, if we tax the rich, we can't do that. They might not want to create jobs for us if they're forced to pay taxes. They might get angry and move all of their business overseas. What, they already did that? Okay, well, they'll move even more business overseas. You don't understand. We have to keep them happy. Who else will create the jobs? You know, every capitalist out there is like, oh man, I sure want to build this business so I can create jobs for the workers. That is my number one concern. It would be nice if I could make some money in the process, but what's most important to me is to provide jobs to people. That's just how the average capitalist thinking goes. How can I provide for my workers? They'll take away the pizza party if we revolt too hard. Yeah. What will we do without the vending machine? The free coffee maker. Do you see the video of the Indian workers wearing a camera on their head because now they're going to be replaced by robots, so now they are wearing those cameras to train their replacement? I think that's going to fail. What job would this be? What job do we have in which that it employs human workers and then you need footage of them doing the thing using a camera, and then you would be able to apply that to a robot? I don't think we have any jobs like that that can be automated like that. Because wouldn't that suggest it would be like a humanoid robot doing like specific tasks? I don't think there are any. That sounds like a tech bros like they're preparing for it, but like it's not actually going to work. Factory assembly worker, yeah, but like if it's like a humanoid robot, it can't do like factory assembly work at the same accuracy as humans. It has to be like one of those like precision crane arms and shit like that. But those things don't, you know, it wouldn't be running on human movement. Like you wouldn't need to train it on the human body's movement. So I don't think there's any kind of robot which would be where the human body's movement would be applicable to the robot's movement, you know? It was some factory. It didn't say which factory warehouse. I feel like this is like the Indian tech bros preparing ahead of time without really thinking about whether it's going to be possible or not. That's just my hunch. Because Indians, they fucking love AI more than anything else. So I think they're just like preemptively trying to get ahead of it, but I don't think they actually have the technology yet. Like there's literally no factory robots that are humanoid, that have a humanoid body structure, because it's just not efficient. Like any kind of factory work that can be done by a robot would be done more efficiently by a non-humanoid shaped robot. So there's literally zero reason to have humanoid robots unless it's like a sex droid or it's going to be working in primarily human spaces. If it's part of the manufacturing process, I don't think there's any reason to have one. Sir, do not redeem. ChatGPT will automatically redeem any minute now, sir. The scam bot is probably something that ChatGPT is good at. I mean, that's one of the few things AI is probably good at, right? Is being like, "Hi, I'm your grandson, and I've been abducted by the Mexican cartels. You need to pay $50 and put it in this bank account. You don't have $50, okay, even $10, any amount of money will do. Just give us, please buy Google gift cards at the local Target." Are they still trying to do the gift card route when they get to the monetization phase? I haven't watched any of those like Indian scam baiter YouTubers in a while. I don't know if they've like been able to get away around the payment processing, because that's where it always falls apart, right? Is like they can get to the point where they can like convince you that you need to send them payment, but the sending the payment part always is where it's most difficult, and they always have to be like, "Please, sir, now drive to your local Target. You must buy Amazon gift cards." They used to use Zune, and then not Zune. What was it? One of the money transfer services, and then they couldn't use it anymore because the company got onto them. So I bet they haven't gotten much better. I mean, I can't imagine. They needed like a more convenient payment service. And the payment services have only gotten stricter, generally speaking, so... Remember when Indians were not made fun of incessantly on the internet? I can't... There's no other, like, internet video phenomenon that has hurt a specific demographic more than scam baiter YouTubers have hurt the entire Indian racial. It's just like it's on par with like minstrel shows for like now how everybody feels justified to just endlessly make fun of Indians. Indian scammer doing a live chat with someone, but the guy asked the scammer to put 3 fingers in front of their face, but the scammer didn't want to do it. The scammer had a face filter on. Yeah, well, that's just standard internet at this point. Nobody is willing to go on the internet without a face filter now. I particularly like the videos of the cute girl posing for the camera, and then like the space is warping around her, behind her, and like the guy sitting behind her is like becoming some kind of eldritch 5th dimensional monstrosity because the gravitational pull of her face filter is distorting everything like she's a black hole. It's pretty funny. That's my favorite version of modern internet. I'm cute. India would crack down on that shit if they were smart. India is barely a functional nation. You can't really expect it to do anything. It wouldn't have been a nation if it wasn't colonized by Britain in the first place. That's what people are ignoring, or forgetting, or don't know the history about. India didn't really exist until it was unified by Britain. It was like a bunch of like 10,000 different local fiefdoms and stuff. And now they're finally kind of getting like some amount of cohesion due to Hindu nationalism, but at its core it's a pretty fucking disorganized society. That is eternally divided over class and their caste and class. India is so fucking corrupt it's not even funny. To be fair, it's harder to find locations on this planet that aren't corrupt than there it is to find ones that aren't, or the opposite. Yeah, it's harder to find locations on this planet that aren't corrupt than the overwhelming majority that is corrupt. So India might be incredibly corrupt, but it's not like particularly out of the norm. The standard mode of governance is extremely corrupt, dictatorial government, and then it's corruption all the way down to the local policemen and so on. So countries where you don't have to like slip a few dollar bills to get your passport processed are more of the exception than the norm. Everyone who complains about how fucking awful America is probably haven't lived in like a true third world country, so they don't know. Not that I have, but it probably really sucks being Indian. I still make fun of them though. Not if you're part of like the Brahmin, like super rich class. Then you get to live in like a fucking palace with like its own air filtration system so you don't get exposed to the incredibly toxic air pollution outside of your walls. And like you have massive walls and like your own security force. And you basically shit on everyone 24/7. Like, you think income inequality in America is bad. That shit is baked into the core tenets of your society. You're like, oh, that person is poor. That's because he did something in their previous life. They deserve it. My grandma called her other sister that lives down the street from the sister that supposedly died. They were confused because they were having dinner with her right now, so another relative quality checked up the other sister down the street and confirmed she was having dinner with them. Got scammed because of that. Just don't give anybody any money ever, I guess is the moral of the story here. If someone shows up and calls you and tells you that you have to give them money, you just be like, no. If it is like an actual municipality that wants you to pay your water bill, they'll have to show up to your house like 10 times and bring their lawyers and stuff, and then you can pay your water bill, and then you know you won't be getting scammed. Just be like, make me bitch for everything. If it's actually your phone company, then they can turn off your phone. Don't donate to leftists on GoFundMe. How about don't donate on GoFundMe in general? There's another scam too. I know a guy who almost fell for it. He was visiting family in Mexico and a scammer called his phone saying they have his mother and his woman screaming and crying in the background. I guess you don't need AI if you can actually, like, literally have a female screaming and crying in the background. And most people don't know what their mother sounds like when she's being tortured by cartels, so they can be like, oh shit. It's a little different when you're living in a country where, like, half of the time it is like a real situation in which someone has actually been abducted and is being tortured, so the Indian scammers can't be like, hello, sir. I have your grandma. She is being, her fingers are being cut off right now. I got a lot of you have a warrant out for your arrest. Like, what the fuck? You just gonna text me casually like, sis, you're a criminal? If you want to arrest me, you can show up at my doorstep and knock it down with a SWAT team and then mistakenly murder me and my dog like a proper American policeman. Then I'll know you're real after you've put like 10 9mm bullets in my chest. Then I make a GoFundMe for getting robbed by the fake police. I don't know, I would just get, like, it wasn't even scam baiting calls. I mean, it might have been a scam, but I would just get calls being like, this is the veterans, like, support group or whatever. Being like, don't you want to support, like, police veterans or, like, retired police officers or something? I'd just be like, I would just immediately hug up, but I kept on thinking, why do they keep on thinking that I want to support police officers? You guys get like a fucking pension. I don't even know if it was real or not, because even if it was real, I would never give them money, right? But, like, where did they get my number? I bet the data on me is just like white male, you know? I bet that's all the data they had on me from, like, the data scraping on the internet. So they were just calling me because they thought as a white male there was a high chance that I would give them money. That's probably all they had. For everybody who's like, oh, all the corporations, they all have your data on the internet and they're selling it to all the other advertisers and stuff. Advertisements sure haven't really got much better for me. The only time where it feels like I can really feel the big data is when, like, the YouTube algorithm will recommend me videos on a Guilty Gear character that I just drew an image of because I was, like, Google image searching, like, images of Jam. So then they're like, oh, they must be interested in Guilty Gear. Let me recommend them Guilty Gear videos. That's about as far as it goes, and that's, like, within Google synergy instead of, you know, corporation to corporation synergy. So what this tells me is that we don't actually have much of our data properly being sold to other companies. Every time you're, like, told these horror stories about how sophisticated everything is, it's like, not really. It's not that sophisticated. Strive really out here trying not to be the worst Guilty Gear, huh? I think they're failing. if Dizzy is covered up, I'm not buying. I was never going to buy in the first place, but I won't even masturbate to upskirt shots of Milia's pantsu. Alright, let's draw some of the Tactics Advanced main characters. Hessiano, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the support. Give me all the cool shit I could do with Venom and Plus R. Unfortunately, Strive has been completely lobotomized, so a fucking Smash players can play it. You know you're in a bad situation when a top Smash Brothers player is also playing, you know, the video game and being successful in tourneys. Because if there's one thing that we know about Smash players, it's how good they are at 2D anime combo games. When you have a fucking party game player... I tell people they only learn enough English to get your money. The Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced main character is looking backward. Yo, Ball, what citizenship sorcery did you do to have dual citizenship in Japan again, or do you not? My mother is Japanese, it's that simple, and I was born in America. America has citizenship based on where you're born. If you're born in the United States, you get U.S. citizenship. Japanese has citizenship based on blood. So I inherited my Japanese citizenship from my mother. If I was born a few years earlier, I wouldn't have gotten my Japanese citizenship because it was only for the father's side for a while, which could obviously lead to very weird situations in which, like, if you were, like, born in a different country and stuff, and it was, like, the mother, and then, like, you could have, like, a kid with no citizenship, so they had to change that. So now I have dual citizenship instead. I'm just a samurai. Wake the fuck up, samurai. Just out here in the streets with my katana. I think it's funny because I see the 4chan drawing board, art and critique board, has a famous idea of Asian genes, and they spend their time demotivating each other, but one of the things they say is like, you can't make it unless you have Asian genes. And I'm just like, you know what? I can't disprove that, because I have the Asian genes, so maybe they're right, who knows? Maybe it is the Asian genes. The secret to get Japanese citizenship is to be Japanese. Yes. And all of you gaijin weebs will never get to be Japanese. You will always be fake Tom Cruise samurai. As you wear your kimonos and participate in tea ceremonies. I just heard that Japan is very no-no about dual citizenship. They are, but their bureaucracy is not properly set up. So they can't like take away my U.S. citizenship, and getting rid of my U.S. citizenship, which I might have to do at some point anyways because of taxation reasons. They can't do it on the Japanese side. They're just like, please try your hardest to have only Japanese citizenship. And I'm like, yes, you're right. And that's it. Like, they don't have any sort of coordination between the American, embassy or anything, so... It's going to be a lot of work for me to actually get rid of my U.S. citizenship, because you have to pay like an exit tax. But I might have to do it at some point because I'm subject to taxation as a U.S. citizen, even if I'm living abroad. It has to be above a certain income level, though, so it doesn't apply to me right now, but only in the case of which I'm like a wildly successful mangaka at some point, that I might be at risk of dual taxation. But for now, we're good. Sounds very American, pay the cancellation fee. Listen, America already has enough billionaires not paying taxes at all, so we really don't need to give them any more reason for them to get the fuck out. If you allowed American citizens who have inherited immense amounts of wealth to just like get the fuck out, then that's what they would all do. In fairness, Tom Cruise Samurai was based loosely on William Adams. Yeah. Tom Cruise isn't based on anything. Tom Cruise is always just Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise just showing up in whatever situation and just running around. There are no white people who actually had an important role in Japanese history. I know you guys have all watched Shogun and blah, 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 and you want to feel super important. It's just Orientalism 101, episode 15. It's like, oh, I am a white man. I'm gonna go to Japan, and I'm gonna get my slant-eyed, kimono-wearing trad wife, and I will train in the samurai arts and the ninja arts, and I'll be just like the Japanese people, and they'll accept me into their samurai bushido code. The Hollywood final boss was making two Chinese women the leads in Memoir of a Geisha. I think their final boss was actually making white woman lead in, what was the Hawaiian movie that's specifically about being an Asian? Because that was like way more recent. Only black guys like Yasuke, the very important guy who influenced a lot of people. To be fair, Yasuke had lots and lots of gay sex. He was, the bussy was influencing getting that the samurai ussy. God, this guy's hair is so weird. Who is she, by the way? Just random Vera. Half of the enjoyment of playing Final Fantasy XII is looking at Fran. I like Pinello's ass. You know Pinello gives like mad blowjobs and stuff to Van. You can just tell she's got that girl next door, actually a freak energy. Ash's weird skirt. I like how nobody even is willing to call it a skirt at this point because it's so short. That's got to be like the shortest skirt in history, even by like JRPG standards. It can only be surpassed by literal hentai games where you're just supposed to see the underwear. It's basically as short as skirt could possibly be, without like being able to see the underwear 99% of the time and only being able to see it like 50% of the time. They're more like hot pants. They're not more like hot pants because if you look underneath them, you can see her panties, which is not how hot pants are supposed to work. I'm pretty sure they extend underneath into, like, hidden shorts. I think you're wrong. Because I specifically was looking up. I mean, if they are supposed to look, if they are supposed to be like shorts, I believe her underwear is a different color. So by definition, like, it's not really, it fails to behave like hot pants. It's actually very hard to look up her skirt, manipulating the camera. There's some kind of Reddit post going around saying that it's different. But I choose to believe what I believe. The job system was better. What bugs me about Final Fantasy XII isn't the fact that the plot is exactly Star Wars. It's that nobody talks about how the plot is exactly Star Wars. That's what bugs me. Exactly Star Wars. Final Fantasy XII is just Phantom Menace. No, it's not Phantom Menace. It's fucking New Hope. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how is it not so, like, fucking incredibly obvious to everybody? Blonde kid in desert planet who dreams about one day escaping his local area to fly among the stars, encounters dashing rogue wearing a black vest with his furry companion who also has access to a ship. And then they rescue a princess on the run from a fucking empire run by a suspicious enemies wearing full-face armor. Like, the only things that aren't New Hope is just straight up Pinello and the fact that Chewbacca is now fuckable. All the Chewbacca fuckers in chat being like, that's not true, Chewbacca was always fuckable. Not true. I always was sexually attracted to Chewbacca. Vaughn feels more like Anakin because he's a stupid dipshit with nothing to do. I like how you're somehow erasing the fact that Luke was also a stupid dipshit with nothing to do. All Luke was doing was sitting around on the farmstead being like, but Uncle Ben, I forgot the fucking uncle's name. Uncle Lars, what was his name? I wanted to go to the station to get the steam converters or shit like that. Luke is literally Vaughn. They're the same fucking character. Uncle Owen is dead! Luke's uncle, and aunt, some of the biggest, people who got the shortest sticks in that series, just like straight up get murdered. And then we never think about them ever again. They're like, hey, can you take care of this kid? Fucking literal fugitive of some of the most powerful people in the Galactic Empire. It might actually get you murdered one day. And then they do get murdered, and we're like, damn, well, good thing Luke can go and fulfill his destiny now that the people who raised him are dead. Now he can get out of this stupid fucking farm. After Uncle Ben LMAO, yeah. He should have been like, nah, I ain't fucking raising that kid. That ain't my responsibility. Uncle Ben, Uncle Owen. The uncle is always, Speaking of Uncle Ben, did we ever find out what was going on with Peter Parker's parents? We've memed so hard about how, Uncle Ben, no! That shit. We never really talk about Peter's parents. I bet it's something really, really stupid, like he never had parents and was grown in a vat. With all the like weird add-on information we get to Spider-Man all the time, like he has like radioactive semen and gives Mary Jane cancer with his spider sexo semen or whatever. I'm surprised I haven't like heard anything about Peter's parents. I'm sure they've come up at some point, but I don't ever really know anything about it. They're always changing why his parents are dead. I don't really know if I can draw Marcia. His art style is too separate from mine. It's whatever the writers feel during that month. Honestly, I wasn't a big X-Men fan, but I wish they would just keep all of that energy to X-Men. I think the X-Men are more appropriate for the whole we're going to be suffering and have lots of stupid drama energy. That's what the people want. With the X-Men, it always feels appropriate. It's always like, no, Jean, no, Scott, no, Logan, oh, blah, 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 blah. All the time, so. I hate the magic school trope. Yes, I've complained about this many times. Maybe I'll draw Luso instead of Marsh. Luso, famous for the worst Japanese JRPG design. Just because he has too much shit going on. It's either Luso or Van, because Marsh's core artwork is him facing the opposite direction. Well, I have to take a piss. While I'm thinking about this. Ah! 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 Ah. 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 Ugh. Hold on, let me check the NBA scores. How are your squats going? I don't know, I'm doing quite a lot. Oh, it's tomorrow. Wait, is it not today? I thought it was today. Isn't it Friday today? Okay. How many squats are you at? I don't know. I stopped counting. I just like turn on a YouTube video and just watch it while I do squats. And I keep on going until I start to feel discomfort. But it's hard to get to max reps if you're just doing body weight squats. So I just keep on going until I get bored in general. You can kind of go forever if you never lift actual weight. Your thighs are very strong. If you watch, like, training videos of New Japan pro wrestlers and stuff, they're doing squats as, like, their startup exercise, but they're doing, like, I don't know, more than 300, maybe in the like 1,000 range or so. If it's just body weight. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be trying to lift weight either, because it's going to be like a different muscle type. So I do think like doing body weight squats is kind of the right way to go. I don't think that's necessarily incorrect. New Japan mentioned. There's all these New Japan training videos and stuff. You had to keep on doing squats until Antonio Inoki says you can stop, or else he'll beat you with his bamboo stick. The main reason I do squats is because sometimes I don't want to exit my apartment, but I just ate like something that's gonna spike my blood sugar, so I have to fucking work it off. Which Final Fantasy or like Evilist character should I be using to narrate the sexiness of non-Viera girls? Because I was thinking of drawing the Final Fantasy Tactics protagonists, but now that I started to draw them, they don't really feel appropriate either. I can't think of a horny Evilist character, neither can I. So I'd have to be messing with their personality a bit. Because the request was all like... Who was the character they wanted? This was like from 2 years ago. Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, but not the Vera. The protagonist as an adult being besieged by sultry, non-human, non-Vera woman of the realm. You can tell why I didn't draw this request in the first part. Just like the extra sentence of the protagonist as an adult shows that the requester has plebeian taste instead of requesting based Oneshota content, you know? Balthier has a Vera rifle, so him probably. The problem is I already drew a character that vaguely looks like Fran but isn't Fran. So it'll be like, if people think that it's Fran, they'll be like, why doesn't she look enough like Fran that doesn't look like Fran? It was supposed to be just random Vera number, 500. You often get Oneshota requests? No. Wouldn't the existence of Vera turn human women obsolete in Final Fantasy? I would say so, yes. If there were brown supermodel bunny women around, what human man would even look at human women? We'd all be going feral. People who don't like the skin color, I've said this many times before, but even racist people like darker skin. They just don't like the whole package of whatever race they're angry about. It's very hard to find someone who's like, no, you can't have darker skin. It's basically like the Chinese who are like, I have to cover up my skin at all times so I don't get any tan. It's the people who don't like darker skin are Japanese, Chinese, and Korean women who are obsessed with having pale alabaster skin and will wear these full-face anti-UV ray masks when they go outside for 5 minutes so it looks like they're wearing a fucking burqa, which I see all these women doing right now when I'm just like walking around outside. Literally Japanese females right now, I don't know what age group they're in. They're all looking like this. Like we're in like some kind of fucking post-apocalyptic, like, nuclear wasteland Mad Max situation. I must not expose any of my face to the UV rays. I cannot tan at all. I will have a tiny blemish splotch on my skin 10 years from now. They all look like raiders of some kind of apocalyptic setting. Sunabo's asshole bachans, they really do be like that. Yeah, Umbrella. Basically wearing like some anti-radiation suit just to go outside. It's all very silly. It's not necessary. Shout out to Ogi for bagging that Indian blue hair girl in Code Geass. I guess she was kind of blue. It was I call that the standard Japanese, we like girls with brown skin, but we don't want the African hair archetype. Oh. Ogi, random NPC who doesn't really help for the cause at all, really. Spends all of his time finding hot brown female and impregnating her, and never gets in trouble. Ends the series knocking her up. The end. Meanwhile, all the actual main characters are like risking their lives. This guy, on the other hand, is like, hold on. That jungle pussy is driving me mad. Shading is difficult. I don't want it to pop too much. I want it to be, like, kind of subtle. Alright, I think that's a little bit better. Then let's just make the skin a little bit lighter. Nice post Easter chocolate bunny. This needs, like, more black someplace. I need to find, like, areas where I can add black areas. Like, just like... Everything needs more black? Not always. If you overdo it, it can be intrusive. Black is like intensity. It's not really a darker color when we're drawing in black and white. It's like the feeling of intensity of color. And you need to have it in some locations. You can kind of do it with just darkening the lines a little bit, but it's ideally you'd want to have like 1 or 2 locations that are just like straight up black. Like maybe we make this area black, I don't know. Because it causes the screen to pop, but you can't like overdo it because then it becomes too much. It's one of the many things that Munata is really good at. Okay, that looks good right there. Trying to find the areas where I can fit some black areas in. The thing to remember is that black and white areas, you're creating these high contrast areas, and that's where your viewers' eyes tend to get pulled to. So you want to have it in places that you want people to be looking at in the first place. Which means the boobs, of course. No, but it's usually like the face and stuff, which is why it's helpful to have these dark shadow areas beneath the chin, the jaw, and then like darker hair and stuff as well, because it frames the white area of the face. It's an easier way. Put the highlights on the boob. It kinda do be like that. Now there's too much black here. Now there needs to be like a more concentrated white area. By the way, when are those Slay the Spire streams happening? I assume that 99% of you don't actually want to see me play video games, that's why. There's like 5 people. Slay the Spire in particular, while it has a large player base, I feel is like in particular uninteresting to people who don't know how to play the game. Because it's so strategic. It's like watching somebody play chess when you don't know the rules to chess. I don't think people are particularly interested in me playing it. I love if you played Final Fantasy 13 on stream. That's the only game you should stream. I mean, I think a lot of people would legitimately rather watch me play Final Fantasy 13 and endlessly shit on how bad Square is and how they got super bad right when they started making this horrible piece of shit game than watching me play Slay the Spire and be like, guys, do you think I have enough exhaust synergy on my deflect run right here? I don't know, man. I just, I don't know if I can take this card, guys. I don't know. Maybe do I have enough orb slots? I don't know, guys. What is my block strategy gonna be, guys? You think you're gonna want to see that? You probably don't want to see that, so... I don't understand chess, but I don't know what is happening. I've seen Grandmaster chess game breakdowns. They explain the game faster instead of watching the entire match. I watch those chess matches. Yeah, I don't think anyone who hasn't played Slay the Spire would understand whatever thought processes we'd be going through if we were playing Slay the Spire on stream. Are you gonna play Unicorn Overload on stream? I will never play Unicorn Overload on stream because I left my PlayStation 5 in America. So the answer is no. Until I get my PS5 back, is basically the situation. Define non-expendable. If we're going to be honest, everybody in a Twitch stream is expendable because you guys don't actually make me any money. Most of my money comes from Patreon. And Patreon people are not in these streams 99% of the time. Neither are the people who donate money to me in other formats. And especially not the people who are here for the fucking commissions. Those people just want me to draw their Futa OCs. If we're talking about me from a purely like paying the rent standpoint, you guys are all expendable right now. Twitch is so fucking stingy with their payouts now that it is basically a non-factor in me paying the rent. The Patreons don't even talk to you or bitch to you, Ball, so honestly, they're the third rates. Company is a very important part. Humans are tribal creatures, and we need other people that think and behave like us. or else we become, you know, depressed and we feel lonely and stuff, but it's still more important that I pay the rent. The Patreons who never say anything and just continue to give me a certain amount of money per month, no matter what happens, are the most valuable people for me. Without a doubt. You're a third-rate chatter with a fourth-rate message. What would the message be of these chats? I don't think we have any message. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. And now we just cover everything with white like this. At least you know there are two women here. Do I, though? Do you really count as women if you don't look like a sexo supermodel bunny like I'm drawing right now? Where's the Vieira women? And now we make it transparent. To some degree, like so. We can increase this to the same color as the rest of the skin now. There, that looks good. I have bunny ears. I just refuse to tan. You also need to be like 6'5" and like 110 pounds. I can't remember, but Fran is taller than Balthier, right? She seems to be like slightly taller than him. She is wearing like huge heels though. The vast majority of the images, she's positioned to be slightly above him. But I think if they're like standing neutrally next to each other, yeah, she's like 2 inches taller than him, I think. If she wasn't wearing heels, they'd be about the same height, I think. Makes sense. I don't think they'd make character models that are like significantly taller than other characters because that would like fuck up the pathing and stuff probably. I'm pretty sure 6'5", 110 pounds would not look like that, LOL. Every Japanese female like lists themselves as like 40 kilos. Chun-Li official weight. Oh, it's not publicly disclosed. Secret. So... Who was it that was like super fucking... Street Fighter 2. Yeah, this is the funny thing. According to official character guide, Sagat's weight in Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 is 78 kilos. He's fucking 226 centimeters, 7'5". This guy right here. We all know what a 70 kilo guy looks like, and it looks like this. Clearly 70 kilos right here. Ugh. I have slightly less muscle mass than that, too. If you could have one Street Fighter body type, which one would you want to have? Not the character itself, but the body type. I mean, Chun-Li, obviously. Personally, I'm aiming for this one right here. I look and behave like this. Why? Because I want to look like a absolute crazy freak. I already look like Hugo, let's be honest. Everybody in chat probably looks like this. Average BaalBuddy chatter. The body type right here. I can just imagine you guys behind your keyboards typing into the chat, being like, actually, Mr. Streamer, I don't think you should draw the nipples like that. Rufus is the fucking worst. Remember in the beginning of Street Fighter 4, when Rufus was one of the best characters because of his dive kick, and we were subjected to endless amount of Rufus matches, and we just had to watch this, like, round dive kicking weird ass character with a fucking like ponytail and this like half open jumpsuit with a fucking happy trail jump up into the air and like jump down for hundreds of hours. Remember that? Yeah, Capcom was like, yeah, we're not bringing Rufus back for Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 6, and nobody complained at all. He was an extremely round character. Yeah, I forgot how incredibly round he was. Instead, Capcom was like, let's appeal to the Coomers. And then they failed because the RE engine sucks at rendering 3D characters. Or two-dimensional characters in 3D with that, unless they're like Resident Evil lighting. Rufus was Ken's rival too for some goddamn reason, LMAO. I can't even remember that. The whole point of Ken is that he's Ryu's rival. They were really kind of searching for shit at that time, I guess. They did put him in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, though, whatever that means. Nobody cares about Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Not even the people who tried to play it competitively for 2 weeks before everyone realized that the best way to win matches was just timing people out or whatever. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Remember how we were supposed to get the opposite as well? Tekken Cross Street Fighter, and that never happened? They were ambitious as fuck back then. Ugh. I guess the question is, how big can I make the ears without it feeling too weird? Also, if I want to put a close-up of the face, I can't fit the massive ballistic boobs in the frame. God, the remake Ashley is so inferior. It's kind of sad. The only thing that... The things that the remake are better than the original is some of the combat gameplay. And then I think Ada actually looks better. Ada's appearance at least looks better. All the enemies are just fine, one way or the other. In fact, there's new enemies in the remake, so I think it gets a plus on that one. And it's not like the remake Ashley doesn't have big boobs to some degree, but she just kind of looks incorrect. Original Ashley had like a very consciously crafted like aesthetic and vibes to her. Like the girl next door who also has big titties vibes, but is also the president's daughter. The remake Ashley kind of... She both looks like kind of an older German diplomatic lady or some shit. She just doesn't have as much flavor. Hidden by her jacket. She takes the jacket off so you get to see the sweater puppies, but they're not on full display. And OG Ashley gets like a full costume specifically for the boobs, so you can further appreciate the ballistics. You don't even have the you don't have Luis there to be like, I see the president has equipped his daughter with ballistics, to remind you how big her boobs are. Which is part of the problem, clearly. Not really a fan of how anyone looks in the remake. I like Ada in the remake. I think Ada looks pretty good in the remake. Ada looks good. Krauser looks good. All the Spanish villagers look good. Leon is kind of weird. Ashley definitely is kind of weird. Her face may look fine, but they ruined her costume. Capcom was one of the greatest victims of Western left-wing cults convincing video game producers that characters can't be sexy anymore. By characters, I mean female characters. We must not satisfy the male gaze anymore, because they were producing some of the hottest characters. And they were like, oh, okay, our Western political consultant told us we can't have Ashley have big boobs. Sorry. No male gaze, only male gaze, yep. Ah. Luckily, the manga industry, it cannot be stopped, despite it being sold to the West, because it is still entirely dependent on individual manga artists. And if you tell an individual manga artist who wants to draw big boobs that they're not allowed to draw big boobs, they'll just be like, okay, I quit. I've lost all motivation. I no longer can draw a single page. Then an editor has to be like, oh no, we've ruined him by telling him to tone down the boob size. It's like, I'm sorry, Yabuki-san. You can draw the boobs as big as you want. I was like, oh, thank God. Average professional manga artist being asked to tone down the boob size would probably rather rot away and die in prison than be asked to actually draw smaller boobs. Thank fuck Marvel Rivals gave us Pog Black Cat today. All is right in the world. I think Marvel Rivals characters are pretty mid, especially their faces. Their faces are too angular. In fact, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The fact that Western female body consumers are satisfied by the amount of tits and ass they get in Marvel Rivals shows like a huge degeneration and sickness in society that men are now okay with like the most a few drops of water in the desert, and now they're like, oh, look at the sexy pussy, oh my God, blah blah blah. It's like, this is nothing. I will not be like, oh yay, mission accomplished, just because Marvel Rivals has produced the smallest amount of cheesecake. You didn't see the ass, did you? I know they have huge ass and thighs. I'm saying their faces are fucked up. And they've been fucked up from the beginning. They have these weird-ass angular faces. Titties are, as usual, the last frontier of trying to reclaim sexual content in video games. Obviously, male bodies can be sexualized as much, and that never went away. And then, like, it's been slowly creeping back to, like, ass and stuff. But the boob slider, once the boob slider becomes standard again when you're able to create your characters, that's when I know that we've overcome that shit. But it is not. Still there in Neo, though. That never went away. God bless Tecmo for that. I remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles X and there was no boob slider like in Japan. Without a boob slider, how can I create my perfect OC female girlfriend that I can self-insert as? I identify as a female with gigantic, bouncing, massive tits. I believe Baldur's Gate 3 has a cock option, but no boob option. We have entered an age, or maybe we're finally exiting the age right now, in which the DEI people in video games were like, we need to make sure that you can properly customize your cock, but you can't have different sized breasts. Yeah, usually they'll have a slider just for the slider's sake. Not usually. Sometimes they'll just have a slider and then it won't make any real changes. Saints Row always had kind of like the best body modification. You could have like all sorts of monstrosities, and then you could also have like legitimately attractive characters. The triangle-shaped Saints Row body slider for fat, muscular, and thin. That always worked the best. Enormous boobs on women with enormous dongs? No. How about not? How about we don't have enormous boobs, women with enormous dogs? How about that? Stats. Memory usage. Disk space. This tells me nothing. Stream information. Twitch stats. That's what I was looking for. We have 37 viewers now. I don't know how to frame the boobs here. Obligatory shitting dick nipples quota achieved. I don't think I've ever actually seen a hentai in which the dick nipples were shitting. I think that's more of a meme. I am not going on D to really look that stuff up, but... probably that one, LMAO. Oh shit. It's 11:40. Alright, I'm going to end the stream here. Have a nice night, guys. See you around. I didn't get much progress, but I was being caught between two different pictures. See you guys. Good night.